All right. Got a pop-up message here. We're going to go over some of the things that I was able to get at Blade Show. I am back from Blade Show, back in Houston, finally, after quite a while on the flight, but kind of to be expected when you take a late flight. I took a very late flight on Sunday back, but I had a great time at Blade Show. I brought my son with me. We had we had a blast. He actually got his first knife while he was there, and ended up getting like 7 of them in total. So some of them he got through giveaways, some of them he got through swag, and some of the cheaper end. Like I said, he was well, I don't know if I said that, but he was given a knife. He was given his first knife by one of the group moderators on Facebook, and we had met up, and he saw my son and said, "Hey, I have this extra knife here. I know he was coming, and I'm going to go ahead and give this to him." He didn't know it was his first knife, but that was a pretty cool thing, and I think it meant a lot to my son, and it contributed greatly to just having a great time while I was there. I actually made quite a few pickups while I was there. I don't know if any of you guys also went to Blade Show. If you went, go ahead and drop a comment below, or enter the chat. By the way, guys, I can't see the chat for some reason. I'm not sure why. So if you are commenting, let me know if somebody comments something, just so I can see if I can see the chat. But I actually can't. I don't know if I can see the chat here. I don't know why, but if you guys are there, go ahead and comment. Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing the chat for some reason. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to address what you guys are saying. Oh, actually, no, I can see it. Landon, hey, how you doing? Okay, so I can see the chat. All right, fantastic. All right, so here's what I ended up bringing to Blade Show with me. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Welcome, late night. Here's what I ended up bringing with me to Blade Show, and I'll get to what I got at Blade Show in a minute. This was my first Blade Show. It was my son's first Blade Show. So I went ahead and I got this one right before we left. This is the Medford Gigantis. I had this on order for like probably over a year. And, once you put in an order on these special orders from Medford, sometimes they take a while because they got to get to them. But I also had this heavily modified Protech Mordax. It's got the flipper delete and the thumb studs added. I think this was done by way of knife. I did buy this on the secondary, so I didn't have the mods done. Oh, there's a spring in here. Yes, it got caught. Okay, I had this in my bag on the way back because I had to bring back all my knives. By the way, it's hugely nerve-wracking to bring back this many knives from Blade Show in checked baggage, I will say. But this one I ended up getting. I actually ordered it before Blade Show, and it was here when I got back, so this one I didn't bring with me, but the other two I did here. And this is the Combat Troodon with the razor blade over here. Always thought this was a cool blade design. It's got the frag pattern also. This Medford Gigantis is just sick, and I'll get to that in a minute. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that I ended up getting while I was there. I did get a few fixed blades and quite a few folders. The first knife, actually the knife, by the way, that was my son's first knife, was called a Vostian Nightshade, which was pretty cool. You had to pay $75 to ship your phone bag because you forgot it was in carry-on. Yeah, I mean, I've had to pay quite a few times from TSA. I actually threw a 943 in the garbage one time because I thought I would get arrested when I was much younger, so that was a waste. But, and I had saved up for weeks for that thing, and I ended up having to throw it out in the garbage. In any event, I know that's not really the case now, but as far as how the TSA handles those things. But in those days, I was a little bit afraid of it. So, in any event, I went ahead and so he got a Vostade Nightshade, and then the same person also sold us this. My son was enamored with the with the Desert Warrior. It's not really my jam, but you know, my son saw it. It's got the donut lanyard on it. I know that these can resell if he didn't end up using it. So I went ahead and bought it and said, hey, if you don't end up, you know, if you don't find a better knife at the show or another, I should think about it. If you don't find another knife at the show, then you can have this one, and if, you know, but it'll be mine until then. So that's kind of how we handled that. And we ended up getting him quite a few knives at the show, so I held on to this. Also, he's 11, and you know, it's a little difficult to actuate an Ultratech at 11. And I ended up getting him. They had a Blade Show special, Guardian Tactical 025. What is it called? The Recon 025, and it was a Blade Show special. It was like $140. The normal price on those is like $249, so that was pretty cool. And he can actuate that no problem. So if you have kids and they're old enough to handle a knife, and you're okay with them having an OTF, preferably single edge with a kid, then you know the Recon 025 is actually a pretty good option because it's pretty easy to actuate. In any event, so that was the first knife we ended up getting, and so then I was there specifically to get a Protech Integrity, and that was the first thing that I ended up getting. I believe there were only like 20 of these made. This is a stainless steel manual, which is really cool. These are a custom from Protech, and like I said, about 20 of them were made. It has a really cool texture on it right here. Has that abalone button, has that Mike Erie grind on it with the two-tone satin. And these are prototypes, so for, I guess, the stainless steel. And so that's a really cool feature also. Hey, Dane, how you doing? Go ahead and wipe that off. That's the one thing about mirror blades is they get all sorts of fingerprints on them. I'm not a huge fan of mirror blades normally, but I'm sort of deciding what I want to do with this. Put in the chat whether you guys think I should safe queen it or actually use it. You know, there's only 20 of these, but it's really cool to have a manual button lock Protech. Good morning. Good evening from the U.S. Or I should say good late night. So that was the second thing I bought, and I also got the Blade Show Special Mordax, which is a bronze aluminum. It's got that Your Dailies with Jason Clark Custom 103. Awesome. Yeah, well, I don't mean necessarily that that it's expensive. I carry expensive knives. But, you know, so a lot of the TR3 in particular is just a very popular knife, and this is probably going to be a popular version of it to collectors. So that's really the only reticence I have on it. Otherwise, I would carry it. I also have a Mike Erie ground DLC TR3 automatic in titanium, and I also have the aluminum version. So it's like that's really the other drawback, is I could carry that one. But anyway, these bronze aluminum scales are pretty cool. They're pretty heavy, and I believe this is Magna Cut. Yep, Magna Cut Blade Show Special, number 8 of 150. So only 150 of these made, which is pretty cool. And as you guys can see, you know, I have that aluminum Mordax here, and it's just cool to now have a flipper version, one that feels more substantial, obviously, because the aluminum one actually is pretty light. So that was the second pickup. All right, while I got everyone here, what are you guys carrying today? I will tell you what I carried today. I carried the other purchase that I made at Blade Show, which is a ZT I forget if it's the 0620 or 0630, but this is a reblade by Huang, and you can see his maker's mark there. This is in Cru-Wear. It's got a pretty sick grind, super thin on this. I don't know if you guys can see how thin that is, but it is really sick. Yeah, the truth is it could have been either one, I think. Weren't the handles the same, or I don't know. I think the handles were the same. One was a, you got a PM2 Crew Carta, awesome. Bronze 039 through CS scales, that's a good one. Small Sebenza 31. It's always a good choice, Dane. Always a good choice. But we have to try to convince Dane to carry the large one. I think the 30 head line's going vertical. Okay, so yeah, it could be that, but one was a Tonto, one was a drop point. That was really the big difference. Either way, this is a really, really cool reblade, not a regrind, a reblade. And I felt pretty good to land this one, so that was another purchase I had at Blade Show. This was also one of the first ones I got. This is so Emerson is finally doing automatics. So he's got an automatic Elvia, and this is actually the same size as the Super Elvia, even though they're calling this, a regular Elvia automatic. I've always thought these blades were sick. Carried a Dervish Alchemy today. Okay, I don't know which one that is, actually. I need to look that up. Sounds pretty cool. But yeah, so the Ed's Manifesto, man. Ed has some sick knives for self-defense. He's sort of an expert. I think he did all the undercover stuff during the drug wars, and yeah, he's got a storied career. Cool knife designs. He's got that one with the El Pionero for tops also, and Turner CNC does some versions of the Elvia. Just a really, really cool knife. Sneak Reaper, one of the best logo / maker's mark, or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's a logo because he doesn't make them, but one of the best logos out there. That Sneak Reaper. I got to get a Sneak Reaper clip on this. I actually forgot to do that while I was there. But this one's pretty cool. It's got the Serape as well. So that is another one. I got, let's see. Got this Les George. I forgot the name on this one. I think it's the Mark III. Mark III dagger. Something like that. It's got thumb disc. You got the nice Damascus blade on this, and the Damascus blade on this is just really pretty. Like that. Les George's stuff is always good. I mean, it's just so good, so solid every single time, and his design language, he speaks my language with his design language. Let's just put it that way. But this is pretty comfortable in hand. It is. I'd still like the VECP, I guess, a little bit more than this one. But this, I do like this enough that I would carry it and use it. And I felt like I wanted to go ahead and pick it up, even though I have two VECPs that I carry quite frequently. So this one's pretty cool. I love Les's work, and it was cool to get to meet him too at Blade Show. I got to meet a couple of these makers, and that's really one of the great bonuses of going. All right, next up, I got so you guys know I have one of the other Ronins, so I got a Ronin Damascus Spartan Harsey folder, the new version, the V4. Let's see if you can see that. Does that pick it up? It's a really cool design here. It's got the dragons. It's got sort of almost a military samurai with, your range glasses and he's got a baseball cap, but then he's got what looks like, samurai armor, and he's got a nice, modern gun there. Can't quite tell what that is. Is that? It's not. It's not an M4, is it? No. I can't quite tell what that is. I'm not as much of a gun guy, but some of you guys may know what that is. And yeah, so this is number 21. Ronin. Love the Spartan Harsey folder. This is one of my favorite designs also, and it just really fits well in my hand. I have large gloved hands, and I have, what do I have, about 10 of them now, 9 or 10 of the different versions. This one's still a little stiff, needs to be broken in, but I did just buy it, but they do break in. And the Damascus ones usually take a little bit longer to break in because of the ridges, but this is pretty good. So that is that one. Next up, I got a Heretic Manticore X in Frag Green. I don't want to call it OD green. It's like more like a forest green, but it's a really, really nice color green. The camera here is not doing this justice. If you are a guy who likes green knives, the green on this is a much nicer green than a lot of other aluminum knives. So definitely check this one out if it's the type of thing you're into. They had two-tone blades, but the DLC on this one looked so good that I had to have it. It's in MagnaCut, it's double-edged. The grind on this is really nice for a dagger. And, it's been a while since I had a Heretic Manticore X, and I have to say, these feel a lot more solid. I mean, I had one several years ago, and these feel a lot more solid. The clip is nicer than it used to be. Obviously, you got a milled clip now. I think back then it was not a milled clip, if I remember right. Yeah, this is really an elegant knife now. They've taken it to a new level, and Heretic is a brand that I don't get very often, but I think they've stepped up a lot of what they do. They had a really cool setup at Blade Show too. They had a game room right next to their booth, so my son was in there quite a bit. They had all sorts of arcades and everything that you could do in the game room. They had a claw machine where you could win free knives, swag, other stuff. It was kind of expensive. It was $5 a play, but people won fairly often, so I don't think that was actually too expensive when you consider that. Hey, Beaver Baron, how you doing? I'm going over some of the knives that I got at Blade Show. The retailer. So the retailer, this was not a retailer. Actually, the guy who did the reblade was in the group of guys that I was hanging out with, and he brought it with him. I don't know if he brought it with him specifically to sell, or he just thought, or he had it that he was carrying it or something, but he was there, and I think he had seen some pieces that he wanted, and went ahead and sold this to me. So that was pretty cool. I don't mind talking about what I paid for things. So I paid about $400 for this. Generally, people will spend, $250 to $300 on these when they include the original blade, and then a reblade is going to cost you, another $300 or something. So this is a pretty good deal, I thought. Yeah, it's really sick. It really is very thin. I mean, it's insanely thin, and the maker on the reblade, so he explained to me that he actually, he has used this quite a bit. You can see the edge on this is still fully intact. He said he's used it on quite a bit of things. Obviously he retouched the edge before he came to Blade Show, but he said there's been no chipping, no anything. The heat treat's been good. He warranties the heat treat. and the blade, if there's any chipping or anything, he'll take care of it. So that's pretty cool. I like that. And this Heretic, you know, like I said, is I have a regrind 640. That's the Blackout Edition. Love it. Yeah. So I'll bring one out that's not one that I got here. It's not a 640, but you know, another ZT Emerson. You said that one had vertical lines. I guess you're right. One has vertical lines and one doesn't. So this must have been the Tonto version originally, because this is the drop point. Cool. Okay, so anyway, Heretic Knives Manticore X. So if you're going to get a Manticore X, by the way, the last thing I'll say on this is definitely check to see that you have one of the newer ones, because I wasn't as impressed with the super old ones when I had the older one. But I've actually had two of them over the years. This is my third, and this is by far the nicest one. So they've obviously been doing something right as they improve their quality control and their design. So let's see. I've got... Next one is, I will talk about this. This is a Dress Marauder. So Medford Dress Marauder, these things are tiny. So I'll explain what happened on this. I got one, there was one in Medford's case that had a Predator design, and I forgot what the blade was. I think the blade was a little bit different. It might have been tumbled or something. I don't remember exactly what the blade was, and it was a Tonto. So that one I liked much better than this one, and it was a little bit more expensive than this one too. So I bought that one, and then I went over to see, so I've bought a few knives, including the one you saw earlier over the years from Azkicker, which is one of the Medford retailers. That's his, sort of exclusive laser design that he does on his knives, checkered flag. So I was over there, and we were striking up conversation. We were friendly the whole time. I had been talking to him in the pit on each night while we were there, and I ran into him and I said, "Hey, you got to check this out. I found a Dress Marauder." He's like, no, which one? And apparently, I didn't know this, is he had been eyeing that one and essentially drooling over it. And I talked to the guys in the Medford booth, and they basically said the same thing, that he was all over that one, but I think they weren't selling it to him because he was a retailer. But he really wanted it, and I'm guessing on that last part. But so I ended up, he's like, "Listen, I really want that one. What do you want? What do you want for it? I'll trade you for it." So he had a bunch of Medfords in his case, so he didn't have a Dress Marauder. He had this one, this slim, or not slim. This is a full size MIDI Marauder, and it has this sort of lightning sculpting with the cement texture, and the Vulcan blade. That's his textured, the checkered flag that he does in the fullers. Usually the reason it's on the clip in the other one is because there's no fuller. And so this one also has the jimping on the spine that is just sort of pimping out the knife, which I really like. And you can see the other side here. So I saw this in the case, and I said, all right, let's work out a trade. I had to throw some cash on top because this is a more expensive knife. But we ended up working out a trade, and then he ended up buying this off of somebody and said, "Hey, I just bought this off someone, do you want it?" So it's not a Tonto, so I had to think on it for a minute, but Dress Marauders don't come up that often, and they're hard to get a hold of. So I figured I'd get it, and worst case, eventually I'd send it in for the legacy service to get it how I want it, or I'll just keep it as is. And maybe one day I'll find a Tonto one also. It's kind of my thinking on this. But I was pumped to be able to get this one. This one is a really cool version of the MIDI Marauder, and that's more of a size that I carry more often. This one is the sort of medium size, and then the Marauder H and full thickness Marauder. I carry all three of those. I can't say that I'll carry this that often, but I'm a lawyer, and when I wear a suit, this is a great choice. So there are use cases for these tiny knives. And yes, Dane, even small Sabenzas. I give Dane crap because, which one? This one? Yeah. I give Dane crap because he carries small knives, but I think it's just sort of what you get used to when you live in Europe. But I shouldn't say small knives. The small Sabenza is not that small. It's decent size. But here in Texas, we get to carry the big boys. So that's what I carry normally. And the large Sabenzas, one of my favorite knives, the Umnumzaan, is even higher in my sort of ranking system. All right, let's take a look at some fixed blades. So I did get a few fixed blades while I was there. One of the ones that impressed me, and here's the sheath on it, is the Sparrow from RMJ Tactical. There are small knives and Texas size knives. Yep. No, and the truth is that there's always good reason to have small knives, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is a sort of a regular EDC size knife. It is nice and thin, easily concealable, good for self-defense. Obviously, this color scheme is a little louder. It's a Cerakote watermelon fixie. Yeah, it looks a little bit like watermelon. Looks a little bit like, a sort of multicolored. I didn't get watermelon vibes originally, but now that you say it, yeah, I'm kind of getting those watermelon vibes. But I think it's meant to be more of a tactical, like army type of thing. Looks like a little kid spray painted it. Yeah, no, I thought it looked cool. I mean, I understand it's kind of wacky, but I thought it looked pretty cool. I was pretty happy buying it. The regular version, they have regular uncerakoted versions too. I just thought this was pretty cool. And you can see sort of the CNC lines on this. I don't know if you can see it there underneath the Cerakote, but this is a cool knife. It's nice and sharp. It's good for sort of a self-defense, concealed carry, fixed blade type of deal, and it's also good for EDC. So, and it's a really good size. So that's that. I also got another one here. This is the White River Exodus design. I think this is called the Jackalope. There's two different sizes on this. The large one is for sure called the Jackalope. I'm not sure if this is a smaller version, if this is also called that. But I don't know if I can show it here. Let's see. I'm going to put this up in the, I have a ring light camera here. I just wanted to sort of show you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but it glows in the dark. I got to get a flashlight. I don't have one with me, but these scales light up, they glow in the dark on top of being this really cool orange-green color. Live 10 minutes away from White River. White River has some of the best stuff out there. You've got a spine here that can be used to used for a ferro rod, a nice 90-degree edge, and a nice really thin profile on this. Obviously, this isn't necessarily a Skinner, but if you're out and you want something really light and discreet for EDC, if you want something that'll work out in the field, it actually is, it's thick enough to withstand what you need, and it comes down to a thin enough edge that it's really light. It's really nice. Something's on the way to me. So, should I tell him or should we do a reveal? We could do a reveal. I don't know. So yeah, Dane's sending me something. So that's that one. And then this one, there's a maker that was also there. I told you guys the reblade was done by Yi Huang. So there's another maker that was there named Ty Brenny that we were hanging out with, and he does these small fixed blades. They're really kind of cool, nice harpoon shape on them, and these are also really super thin geometry grinds. I think this is Cru-Wear, and look how thin that grind is. Just a really cool knife. This is TerraTough. And so my son was checking one of these out with Ty, there, and really liked the yellow version. When Ty pulled out two of them, my son, who was hard selling everyone, hard sold me that we needed a father-son knife, so we both ended up getting one of these. And so he has a yellow G10 one, and I have a TerraTough one. And, we've been testing this on a couple of things, and yeah, that edge is beautiful. It is super thin. Like, just insane how thin this thing is. And again, the maker on this is Ty Brenny, Brenney. If you guys haven't checked out his stuff and you like these small fixed blades, this is a really good one. Definitely check him out. He's got a bunch of different scale materials, and even if he doesn't have one you like, you can always swap them out, for other ones that he has on his site. There's it's obviously screws that is holding this together. And he's got different finishes on the blades. So my son's one is satin. This is like more of a bead blast. Anyway, that's that one. I did have to separately buy an ulti-clip because it didn't come with an ulti-clip. It's meant more of as like a fifth pocket knife, but I wanted to go ahead and I don't have a fifth pocket. I don't wear jeans that often, so I figured I'd go ahead and add an ulti-clip to mine. So those are the fixed blades that I bought. I'm going to interrupt this message to talk about this knife, which, so I threw a flight tag on here from Squid Industries. This is, they handed out swag at Blade HQ is a sponsor for BallyComp. It was really cool seeing the Bally flipping at BallyComp, by the way. The finals was kind of nuts. I won't ruin it for you if you guys intend to watch it, unless you want me to, because I know that they, record those online. Yeah, the ulti-clip is the savior of little fixed blades. The only thing about the ulti-clip that kind of drives me crazy is, they have to put a cross on everything. You guys know I happen to be Jewish, and it's I love people supporting their own stuff and sort of being proud of their religion. I don't care what it is. I'm always happy to see Christians who are religious and being an advocate for their own religion, but you have to remember that you're selling to people who may not sort of feel the same way, and so that's really the issue there is every time I put it on I've got a cross on me, so it's kind of like anyway. There was actually a maker there at Blade Show whose knives, I would have bought a fixed blade from him if it wasn't for the fact that, I could not wear his knife sheath was just this massive cross on it. But other than that, the blades were, they were beautiful. I mean, let me see if I have his name, because if you guys are okay with the crosses, I want to promote him. He's actually, he was awesome. Hold on one second. So this is the guy's name. You can check out his C White, and obviously he's got the cross there on his logo. But it's Jonesboro, Tennessee, Caleb White Knives. Here's his contact information. can check out his Instagram and his website. I mean, it's hard for me to buy his knives, but you guys, I want to promote a maker that just is really. I was blown away by his knives. They were a lot of times fixed blades are hit or miss on ergos, and these were great on ergos. They were beautiful knives. They, the other thing is a lot of them. Most of his knives, I think, were mirror finished, which, on fixed blades makes them great display pieces, but makes me a little bit wary to use them. Anyway, but that was one of the makers that I saw. There's one other maker, actually, I want to promote while we're here. This guy had some good knives. Yeah, I'm always happy if people want to display, across on their own stuff, that they themselves use. Super fine. I support it 100%. It's just when you're selling wares, it makes it hard for, me to, who's a different religion to use your stuff. It just kind of is what it is. But yeah, this guy was had some pretty nice stuff there. He had some good file work on his knives. I think most of his knives had like a Hamon on it. It looked pretty nice. And then I wanted to promote these guys. I'll cover up. I don't know if he wants his phone number out there, so I'll sort of cover up the phone number. But it's the Traveling Forge. And here's their contact info. So I'll say the Traveling Forge, and I was thinking of getting one of their knives. It's a little bit. They're not the top quality knives I've ever seen, but the guy in the Traveling Forge he's like a super young kid. I mean, he looked like he was very early 20s, if that, right? And I mean, maybe even younger than 20. I wouldn't be shocked. And you could tell he'll get there. I was telling someone, he reminds me of Jake McCoy. I don't know if you guys know who Jake McCoy is, but you can look him up. He looks like he's 12, and he's been doing knife making for several years now. But he's obviously a little bit older than that. But he sort of reminds me of that. He's a traveling preacher, or he comes from a family of traveling preachers, and he just had a really great attitude, and had sort of a talent that I think should continue to be nurtured, and I'd like to see him continue to do what he's doing. So I think I'm going to buy one of his knives to support him. I contacted him after Blade Show because I keep the Sabbath on Saturday and he keeps the Sabbath on Sunday, and it made it hard for us to connect. Anyway, this is why do I have this one out here so much? This looks like a throwaway knife. This looks like a knife that is giveaway, cheap, whatever. I thought the same thing, and then I opened it up, and I saw this. You guys know what that is? I don't know if you're getting it. This is Fox Knives, N690. It's a legit steel. It's a legit company. It's pretty decent quality implements. Actually sharpened can opener, which you don't usually see. Usually they're not so sharp, right? So for a giveaway knife that they gave out at BallyComp, that was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with it. Anyway, that is that one. Let me see what else I got. I got this. I've been wanting one of these for a long time. This is the Arno Bernard. Is it Imamba or Imamba? I don't know exactly how to say it, but people have sort of called this the. Is it? How do you say it though? Is it EI? Like what? I don't know how to say it. But this is red, white, and blue kudu. And they have a bunch of different inserts. You can get a plain tie one, but I thought this one was really cool with the red, white, and blue. Obviously this isn't made in America, it's made in South Africa, and by the way, South African makers, super high quality. If you want and the exchange rate is favorable to the U.S., so if you buy from South African makers, you're usually getting a really higher end knife than you could get if you were getting otherwise, and it's not like the Chinese slave labor type of situation. So anyway, the South African makers are all, not all of them, but many of them are just top-notch makers. And they have their own guild, and it's fantastic. And Arno Bernard makes a great knife. They have a flipper and a non-flipper version. I wanted the non-flipper version, but they didn't have this red, white, and blue in the non-flipper version. And I think I like the flipper after all, but I'm usually a non-flipper guy. But this is super smooth. The edge geometry on this is good. And it comes in Damascus blade, comes in satin blade. I didn't need to pimp out this version because I think I was going to make this a user. But this is, it has this nice bead blasted tie, kind of like the Chris Reeve knives. It has a pivot that sort of evokes, it's not quite the same, but it evokes memories of the original pivot on the Umnumzaan, right? The AB here is a little bit like the Chris Reeve symbol. Chris Reeve's also from South Africa, so if you're, I'm sure Arno Bernard has some relationship with Chris Reeve, or has some sort of influence from him. But this is just a beautiful piece, and yeah, this is going to be a carry for me, not something that sits in the safe. Dane, this is sort of also one other thing. This is an in-between size. I think it's well, let me just double check. I'm going to put it up against the large Sebenza so Dane can see. It's a little bit smaller than the large Sebenza. So if you want something that is bigger than the small Sebenza, but smaller than the large Sebenza, this Imamba is actually a really good option. Oh, and this runs, yeah, it's kind of a mix of an Arius and a Sebenza. That's true. It does have sort of that Arius influence also with the window that's cut out here. And the blade shape is a little bit reminiscent of a mix between the two as well. The handle, obviously, it doesn't have much Arius influence, but it is quite different from a Sebenza, although it does have the titanium inlay, and we talked about the pivot. So, yeah, really cool. Also comes with a lanyard, just like the Chris Reeve knives do. All right, and so speaking of Al Verduzco and As Kicker from earlier, I really liked the Gigantes, and I couldn't originally decide between the black one and the Vulcan blade, so I ended up actually getting a second Gigantes while I was at the show, which is pretty cool actually. This is the diamond gator belly pattern. That's the gator belly with the diamond sort of on the edges, and they both have this. He happened to have this in his booth, and it's got this nice Vulcan blade. I really like the pattern on here, and it's got his laser checkered flag, and it's just a knife that you can pull out, and you're going to get that gasp every time from people when you do. Some people like that, some people don't, but everyone wants to handle it when you take it out, so that's pretty cool. And it gives you a nice haptic feedback, a nice thwack every time that you deploy it. All right, and so I'm getting down to the last two that I got here. The last, so a couple of you guys who are Patreons have seen this. This is the Cold Steel FM1. This knife is possibly the cheapest one on the table. No, second or third cheapest. Okay. Why does that matter? This is the quality of a $400 knife. It's got the Atlas lock. The branding on this is actually classy. The Atlas lock here, as you can see, it is super thin. Let's put it against the, here's it against the Mordax. Okay. Here it is against the, let me get something people are more familiar with. Here it is against the Bugout. Look how thin that is. Let's see it against the Narrows. Let's see, where's the Narrows? So the Narrows is going to be thinner, but not bad, right? Titanium model from Cold Steel, and it actually feels really full in hand, just the way they designed it. There's a DLC version. There's a regular, bead blast, I guess, titanium version. That one has a satin blade. Like I said, Cold Steel FM1. This has S35 VN steel, great steel. The blade on here is a great blade shape. The grind is excellent. Cold Steel knives are usually done really well for the price. And this, it feels a lot like the Shark Lock. It's a little bit lower down than the Shark Lock, which, I like, but I prefer the Shark Lock for sure. But it's not bad, and it's super classy as a knife, and in this price point, you really can't go wrong. Like I said, it's you can see in the Ricasso here how thin it is. So it cuts really well. It's let's see it against the Bugout for stock. This for sure has Bugout influence in it. Yeah. This is kind of like a Cold Steel Bugout, but with the Atlas lock. So I think it's going to be really popular for them, and I was really blown away by it. I didn't see anyone talking about it at all online. I really don't know why. This blew me away more than any other knife at Blade Show, just on the sheer value, the design, the build quality for the price. There's certain things that could be better. The clip isn't recessed, right? But the clip is fine. I don't love the logo on the clip, but, and the FM1 is just kind of I prefer that they did something better to hide, maybe put it on the back here. But this is a great knife. And it's not something I would have expected from Cold Steel. Like $220. All right, the last knife is my big purchase. I know the Integrity is sort of a big purchase, but the last knife is a custom. So a couple of you guys may know, I have the prototype from Melvin Lozada for the Raptor. So this is a custom Raptor with, I think it's, what is this, Black Timascus, or forgot what this is on here. But it's like a bead blasted Timascus, which is kind of cool. But this is the prototype for the Raptor from Melvin Lozada. And so I visited his table, and I got the prototype for the, so his most famous one is called the Hound 3.25, 3.25-inch blade. A little small for me, so he ended up making a larger one, the Hound 3.75, and this is the prototype for that. And it's got Tiger My Damascus from Baker's Forge, and I think it's called Island Dirt Camo Quartz, and it's got a clip that's also Tiger My Damascus. And I just think this thing is awesome. It's a liner lock. Fits much better for me in the hand than the 3.25 one, which I thought was a little cramped. And this is, yeah, exactly. This is art. And I think he did a great job matching up the camo quartz to the blade, the Damascus on the blade. Just beautiful. So this is my big pickup. Anyway, that's my show and tell for the day. We didn't have a ton of live viewers because I didn't announce this or anything before I did it. I just kind of did it. Should we do a giveaway? We could do a giveaway. I know there's not a ton of people here, but I appreciate you guys watching. So I said we should do a giveaway, and we just dropped viewers. Interesting. You guys who are in here, go ahead and leave a like just so I can, do something for the algorithm. Dane, you hush. You just got a giveaway. Thanks, Beaver Baron. Yeah, it's definitely a heck of a show. I had a great time with my son. He's over the moon. And, yeah, that's great. Go watch the playback, Mad Hatter. And you're just in time for the giveaway. So that's good. Stick around because we're going to do a giveaway. Let me think what I want to give away. I don't have most of my giveaway knives with me right now. I'm pretty sure I have like a $40 or $50 knife somewhere. I will tell you guys separately what it is once I do it, but I have like 8 or 9 of them on my desk at work, and I can't remember what I have. So I will just say, the winner contact me, and we'll work out which one. Maybe I'll give you 2 or 3 options, and we'll work out which one I will give you. So anyway, let's go ahead and how do I want to run this? How about we do a number from $100 to $200. We've only got 8 people in here, so you guys can cover a lot of ground. You get one guess, and we'll wait till I say start. You get one guess, and let's do the person closest without going over, because I don't want to have to sit there and figure out which one's closer going both ways. Oh yeah, because I can't see them come up quickly enough to just be like, oh, the first person gets it. I don't see the comments that well. So, yep. So let's go ahead and I'll just go ahead and say start. Number between 1 and 200. Dagger or the dirk blade. Closest without going over. This is a single edge. One number only. I've seen 3 guesses. We got 8 people. 134. So that's 4 guesses. Who hasn't guessed? Somebody just listening in the background? Mad Hatter guessed. That's 5. I'll wait about 10 more seconds. That's 6. What do y'all wait until everyone else bids? Come on. We're doing a giveaway. Not real quick. I just saw someone else come in. Number 1 to 200. One guess. Hey, LCAP. Do we have everyone? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The number was doing this first number here, 94. I think Mad Hatter got it, if I'm right. Number was 94. That's nice of you, LCAP. Somebody verify. Is that who had it? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? All right, Mad Hatter. Congratulations. Email me at triple.e.edc@gmail.com. No, 1 to 200. Oh, I was clear. All right, awesome, Mad Hatter. Email me at triple.e.edc@gmail.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great night. I hope you enjoyed the little show and tell from Blade Show. I will be offline for the next few days for the Jewish holiday Shavuot, and but I'll be back online around Thursday evening. No, that's fine. You'll get in on the next one. You'll get in on the next one. We'll. I mean, the odds are pretty good. If no one's watching, you guys are going to win. So. All right. Congrats, everyone. Have a great night, and so long.